A lady named Beth is shown at the start of the film. It is discovered she is depressed. Beth is shown drinking the whole night and then goes to sleep after watching her wedding videos. She misses her husband when she goes to sleep. She wishes to be with him. Someone knocks at the main door and she sees a reflection in the mirror. There was none. Beth is shown in the next scene when she awakes. She feels like dreaming. It is shown Beth is a professional teacher. She gets ready to go to her school because today was a parent-teacher meeting. A lady comes to her who is her student's mother and asks Beth why did she give C grade to her son. Beth tells her that he didn't submit the assignment. That's why he got a C grade. The lady says my son came with assignments but you weren't here. Beth apologizes to the lady and gives a B grade to her son. But that lady wants an A grade for her son. Beth tells her my husband took his own life the last Thursday. Hearing this, the lady remains silent. Further, Beth is shown at her house. She was watching her husband's diary. Her husband has made a house sketch on it. It was near a lake. Beth notices he has made sketches of many rivers. Like it was a mirror image. Beth doesn't understand anything and leaves for sleep while putting the diary back. The next morning, her music system plays automatically. She checks the phone and receives a message from Owen. Meanwhile, a voice was heard. She finds her husband when she sees going near the window. He was standing near the lake house and then Beth awakes. It discovers maybe Beth was dreaming. She gets scared from that dream. Then she checks her husband's phone after charging it. But she didn't get any message. She checks the phone gallery and finds a picture of a girl. It was taken from a side pose. The girl was looking like her. She goes to her friend and shows her the picture. Her friend says maybe she is you, but Beth says I haven't any clothes like this. Her friend Claire says leave all this and just remember the good moments spent with your husband. Maybe he was cheating you. Later, Beth and her friend go to a bar and drink a lot. Beth's friend comes to drop her at home. Beth tells her a story. She got into an accident when she was 17 years old. Her car fell into a ditch. Her lungs burst and her heart stopped beating for almost 4 minutes. But the doctors somehow saved her and telling this story, Beth sleeps. Suddenly, her music system starts playing loudly. Beth awakes while fearing and then she notices she is alone at home. She screams and says whoever is it comes in front. She notices some girls coming and jumping into the lake. Beth checks with light, there was nothing. Then she notices another house. It was to the other side of the lake. It disappears from there. Immediately then someone whispers in her ear. She goes towards the boat courageously. There were blood-soaked footprints and she realizes her husband's soul is around her. As she tries to touch it, she gets faint. When she awakes, she finds herself on the other side of the lake. There was a house like her and she notices the girls like her in the different rooms. They are with her husband Owen. Beth awakes when she goes inside the house. She was inside her house means in the real world. She believed that the happenings with her is not a dream but this is a supernatural power. She charged her husband's phone and finds the picture of many girls. The girls were looking like her. Then she goes to the other side of the lake for investigation. Her neighbor meets her near the forest and forbids her to go alone into the forest. She ignores her neighbor and goes there. Beth sees a house in the forest. It was like her house. It was in a worse condition. She finds a doll while coming inside the house. There were many pins inside it. Seeing it, it was confirmed that it may be some kind of black magic. She again goes to her neighbor's house and asks him why he was forbidding her. You may know something about my husband. You have some information about his devil tasks. Her neighbor tells her he has seen her husband with a girl in that house. He didn't tell her anything about it because her life may spoil because of it. Beth returns home and sees her husband's things. She finds 2 books. One of them was a black magic book. Beth didn't understand anything after reading the book and throws the doll in anger. The doll that she found from the forest's house. Even after falling, the doll again stands straight. Suddenly, Beth hears voices from the upper floor. She finds a man's soul there when she checks. He turns his head towards her when she sees him. She gets scared seeing him. The next day, Beth goes to the bookstore from where those books were purchased. She sees the same girl in the bookstore whose picture she saw on her husband's phone. She asks the lady about her husband but she gets shocked hearing this. The lady tells her maybe she knew her husband, but they have no relation. Later, Beth goes to her friend. She tells her everything that is happening to her for the past few days. Her friend says after hearing this, stop thinking about your husband Owen. Now he has died. Beth returns home at night and the lady comes to meet her. The lady whom she saw in the bookstore. She tells her she doesn't know her husband well. They were just good friends. The lady tells her husband loved her a lot. Telling this, the lady leaves. Beth goes to the other side of the lake in the house while drinking. Here, she tries to call her husband's soul. But it didn't come, and then her foot slips. When she sees downside through light there were many dead bodies. Beth gets scared after seeing them. Beth runs from there being scared and thinking this while sitting in her house that Owen can't do this, and remembers her husband while weeping. She feels a presence and Beth notices here written in the washroom's mirror. Beth goes there and feels maybe this is her husband's soul. The soul was also feeling Beth. There was a whispering and Beth leaves the soul immediately. As Beth leaves, the door of the washroom closes automatically. She notices a girl in the mirror like her and her husband is beating her. Meanwhile, a soul holds Beth's neck. It hits her with the door and the door opens. Later, Beth goes to her bedroom and notices the souls of many girls there. They were trying to hide. Beth again sees her husband while beating a girl. Beth notices there is another soul with him. It takes her to another room. It takes Beth to the place where her husband has done the murders. In the end, she notices she has placed her head in her husband's lap. There is again someone whispering in her husband's ear. He tries to press her neck, but he couldn't do it. Beth asks, "The shadow, who are you?" The shadow says, "I am nothing. You felt me last time when you got into an accident. But you escaped at that time somehow," and the actual thing reveals here. This shadow was none other than Death, and when Beth escaped from the accident, the Death was chasing Beth. It wants to take her from there. But her husband saves her again and again. Her husband has made a mirror house to make Death forget its path. He brought the girls like Beth there. He ends those girls after the Death's whispering. Basically, the Death wants to end Death from Owen. Beth's husband was tricking Death. In the end, Death is shown making Beth's soul its slave. Because Death couldn't end Beth here, she has to take her own life. Then it can end her soul. Beth's soul was stuck in between Death and life's dimension right now. Death in form of her husband tries to convince her. So Beth will feel her life is worthless. Like this, she will shoot herself. So she will take her own life, but then her friend arrives. She tries to wake Beth while screaming. Beth hears her friend's voice in the other world. She comes to her senses. She sees she is sitting in the boat with a gun in the morning. Her friend comes to the boat while swimming and takes her to the shore. It is discovered here why Beth's husband died. He has understood that Death will make his wife end. That's why he committed suicide. He didn't want to end his wife, that's why he took his own life. He loved Beth a lot. Then her neighbor also arrives there. He asks Beth what has happened to her. Beth says, "I don't know what has happened to me." Meanwhile, they feel a soul's presence near the boat. Here the movie ends.